Coming from the true space, we ain't answer type of neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space.
What's good? It's your astrology open book representing True Space, and let's break down Mercury and Libra and the retrograde to come on the 26th. So on September 6th, we entered the shadow period, which is basically where the point where Mercury is going to return back to when it goes on retrograde, and that's 10 degrees Mercury, and that's the area, that transit between like 10 degrees Mercury and like 25 degrees Mercury in Libra, that little shadow period. Through that transit, as we're experiencing that transit, all the things that you are going through, aka you're thinking about and communicating with your Mercury energy, especially with Mercury and Libra being in an air sign, sparking the conversations with people and kind of really getting persuaded by the sweet talk of other people and doing the sweet talking yourself. So that's kind of that Mercury Libra transit in a nutshell too. But from that shadow period, all of the things that you are going through from then, the 6th of September until then, is everything that's going to be come back around once Mercury goes retrograde. And those are the things, it's kind of getting all of those passing concepts that you kind of touched on, those thoughts that kind of came and went, that left, conversations that you started but you didn't finish. Come Mercury retrograde, you're gonna go and see those conversations, or at least you're gonna go and remember them or see the significance of them, and kind of really have to backtrack and analyze those very same conversations for you to figure out a way to move forward. It's kind of going to be a blessing, because if you were getting sweet talked, it's that retrograde is going through the sweet talk type deal, and then now you're going to go, wait, oh, there is no substance to any of that. Oh wait, that one time they said that they would do that and they didn't do that, that type of thing. And that's kind of where Mercury retrograde gets you. I don't know, everybody always looks at it in such a negative light, and every planet goes retrograde except for the sun. Now, ain't that funny? Because the sun doesn't look back. It just goes forward. It just moves forward. So that's why they be doing all type of rituals. That's why it would be all this type of savior type energy attached to it, that Jesus spell, that fucking leader type person, that moving forward, always moving forward, never really reflecting, always moving forward in the physical realm, building in the physical realm and sharpening the mind as well, but not diving deeper into the reservoir that is held within. You kind of refine a physical body or an outer body or a mentality like that, but it doesn't have the gas like that because you're not going interior. So that's the kind of mentality that the sun be going through, going forward. And that's how niggas be getting lost, and that's why they keep worshiping the sun. All of this sun worshiping is all attached to lostness, because that shit it never reflects and looks inwards to reflect on the path that it is going through. It kind of has to go through the mistakes and wait till the next time it comes through there and hope that it fucking makes better decisions the next time. Meanwhile, the other ones, kind of do have that stop and reflect, sometimes. All the other planets. But with this Mercury retrograde, Mercury's not gonna leave Libra until like November 5th, until like Scorpio season. So it's gonna be a long time that it's going to be that type of that pandering conversation. And it doesn't have to be like that. It could be finding new ways to spark relationships with people, Now you're kind of coming into a mastery of your way of communicating and presenting it onto a world stage. This is why I was saying that you could be the finesser right now, or that you could be the victim of that finessing, because because this is where Mercury is in its progression. So in the beginning, Mercury was in Aries, so you started a new way of talking about things, or you're kind of just communicating and thinking based off of first initial experiences, kind of jumping into experiences and allowing your mind to race. It's kind of like when you enter a new situation, you're kind of like analyzing everything at once, or at least maybe even focusing on one thing, because there's so much, so it's like you choose the first thing to focus on. And then in Mercury and Taurus, you start grounding your mentality, or start thinking about things that can provide for you, things that you can find stability in, things that are tangible, things that are real, what has value, what produces, oh, this tree produces fruit, oh, and this tree doesn't, oh, maybe I should take the seeds from these ones and plant them more and stuff like that type of shit. And then Mercury and Gemini, now you're starting to analyze that information, or now you're starting to take note of that. Oh, maybe I can take the seeds and stuff like that. You start thinking of ideas and you start communicating these things. That's where Mercury is in the home, and then it gets a boost. And then Mercury in Cancer, while you were just kind of looking around and kind of analyzing these things and seeing what it was, now you're starting to think about and communicate how you felt about it. And it may be hard to do that if you don't have tight-knit close around you, because we're talking about Cancer. If you have to do it on a global stage, it could be vulnerable, but in a private close setting, it's kind of like celebratory, or it's understood, or you're allowed to express those feelings and emotions. But then Mercury and Leo, now you're pushing out that. Now you're really finding creative ways to communicate your thoughts, finding new creative or a new image, that is being held in your thought, and a creative way of expressing yourself and communicating to people, a more imprint of your individuality. And then Mercury in Virgo, it starts to be perfective. Now you start to analyze all of the things that you pushed out in your mind, all of the thoughts, creative thoughts, things that you wanted to build, things that you wanted to have when you were just thinking of you in your creative identity, when you were building your archetype and the things that you are interested in, the things that you want to entertain and dive into. Mercury in Virgo, now you're starting to collect the receipts of all of that energy being put out, what you need to do in order to step into that image, which parts of you align with that, which parts don't, who's helping with that, just receipts, because Mercury is at home in Virgo. And then now Mercury in Libra, now after the receipts, and it's been perfected and thoroughly analyzed in Libra, now it's being presented into now it's kind of like wrapped and packaged. That's why Cardinal Libra is the masculine side of Venus, because it's all nice, wrapped and packaged. It looks nice. Now you kind of did the work. It's not raw like Aries anymore. It's packaged. It looks good. And now you're able to do that talk. So this really does help you even connect with people with like-mindedness, or in terms of that energy exchange. That's Libra. That's your hip. That's the in-between. That's the mediator in between the both sides. So it really is about bringing people together. So when it comes to that energy balance, when you meet like energy, it's going to be even easier to make that kind of type connection just with that energy, or it's possible. But then you have the other aspects that be going on that are getting everybody all fucked up. And I'll get into those. But with the Mercury retrograde, it starts on September 26th. And on that day, we have a grand trine to Saturn in Aquarius, the Sun in Libra, and the Moon, North Node, and Lilith and Gemini. So this is a grand air trine coming in on a Mercury, on the day Mercury goes retrograde, which is very interesting. And I think this Mercury retrograde is very significant. And it's very funny how last year during the election with Trump and Biden, we had a Mercury retrograde in Libra, and they had all of that fuck shit going on, and it's like an election during a Mercury retrograde. You clearly don't have astrologers working at that corporation, but Canada's doing the same thing this year. They're having an election going on right now with Mercury about to go retrograde in Libra. So it's the same energy that had happened last year and in the same election climate. And I find that very interesting. And I love that the other day Dolo made a video talking about the polarization that happens with politics, and not even just politics, but with anything. That polarization energy that's setting two against each other, whether it's bidding men against women, that's easy. That's bait, But to turn a man against his own brother is a little extra work. It's still possible, but it's a little extra work. To turn a girl against a sister is a little extra work. But yeah, it's definitely possible. But to turn them against each other, that's easy. That's effortless, So it's that polarization factor. And we see that in the world right now. That's what they're doing with vaccinated and unvaccinated. Polarization. And it's the separating this and taking fucking elections. So we're talking about polarization. We're talking about energy. Tell me the world's not run by energy. Tell me they're not sucking your energy when they go and tell you to go and vote. Vote like a voltage in their election for everybody to decide who's in charge. And how do you check who's winning? You check the polls, because everything's polarized, and that's how you get energy too. And they can go and do whatever they want with it. It is not about what side you're on. It's not about Trudeau's a puppet and they're trying to use Trudeau and what's his name, that nigga Jack Meat Scene, that type deal. If y'all ain't in Canada, you don't know, man, Americans ignorant as fuck. Y'all niggas don't care about international politics and shit like that and what's going on in fucking Canada. But, so you don't know these niggas, but, all of it is just, that polarization thing, or to get people that whole type mindset or that system. And it's the lack of awareness that really shows it to you. And that's what shows you it's a ritual and a magic spell to suck your energy, because it's not the conscious intent that's going into it. Meaning that you are an unconscious participant. You are unaware of the energy exchange that is going on and what those are being used against you. How you've been blind to it up to this point, nigga, I don't know. But let's get back to this Mercury and retrograde thing. So major alignments that are going to come up during this retrograde, that already even came up on September 8th, but it's going to come back to it. Mercury in Libra opposite Chiron in Aries. So Chiron in Aries right now, what the collective or the world needs to heal, or what is wounded in an area of that needs healing, or that we have knowledge of healing of because we've been wounded in that area, is individuality, and really going for your first initial desires and giving birth to things, starting things, being leaders, actual physical masculine energy, Mars in its dignity. That's what is needed to heal actually positive masculine energy, you know. The problem in the world is not toxic masculinity, it's the lack of masculinity. It's not toxic masculinity, it's toxic femininity. And I should make a video about that. But and I will on a later date, but not blaming women, but it's your child. If it's a nigga that comes out and starts fucking shit, wasn't it your child? So what happened? What happened? A child's blank. So what happened? That's real shit. But anyways, and then so that's a real theme that's gonna come up with this Mercury retrograde, because you're gonna be trying to talk that sauce and really package everything right now. But what you need to heal is going to be something that is raw, and that's going to be something that you're going to tangle with, because you have spent all this time, or you have developed this little package, and you know, Chiron's kind of asking you to be a little bit more raw. And if you don't know how to incorporate that, you know, if you're the one who's getting swayed and stuff like that, you might want more of that energy, you know, get too lost in it and not, you know, kind of incorporate, be like, okay, so it still be packaged and presented nicely, but let's add some raw elements, you know, let's rip it up a little bit, or something like that, you know, that type of deal. Or at least, you know, being open to it, or conscious of that awareness exchange. But and then Mercury's gonna go into squaring with the moon in Cap, which is where what the moon was the last couple of days. And this is your thoughts and ways of speaking, conflicting your emotional desires to be known and respected. And with the moon in Capricorn, it's kind of going to be a little bit of vulnerability, or, you know, kind of wanting to have that self-respect. And when other people outside of your environment aren't playing it, or they're trying to convince you to do something else other than what you are building and stuff like that, you know, maybe if you're not strong and stable enough, it could really shake you. But this is preparing the spark for that Pluto square. That man, if you're you know, not good at, not saying even good at conversation, but not handling that turbulent aspect, I don't know what to tell you, man. The conversations that you have coming up with that Mercury square with Pluto are going to change the way you think forever. It's going to change the way you think and incorporate your energy with other people and on a global scale. And you're going to really realize what you need to let go to maintain your sanity and to avoid death. So, but before that, Mercury in conjunction Neptune in Pisces, and like September 17th, so like tomorrow type deal. But with Mercury in conjunct Pisces, your thoughts and ways of speaking are misunderstanding the beliefs and ways of using spirituality of other people and even yourself. So this alignment is very significant to what's going on too, because don't forget that Venus is exalted in Pisces, so Pisces in Libra does have that relationship, you know, but even though it's in conjunction, you know, because that goes too far with it, whereas that Venus is contained. But everybody's lost in illusion right now. If it's not on some dream type shit, if it's not imagining their dream reality based on some real type personal things, you know, then they're lost in an illusion. if it is not their own, dreams that they constructed based off of their experiences, and it's not based off of images. It's based off of states of being that they have been in and that they want to, foster or maintain. That's real spirituality. This is where real witchcraft and all of that stuff comes from, or from that space, that type of stuff. But with Neptune in Pisces, it's just so easy to get in that sauce, and the media's been using that alignment for a minute. Neptune's been in Pisces, and it's been a complete mirage where everything is illusion, and you're not too sure what is real. And when your Mercury is in Libra, you're trying to give out this packaged thing. You're trying to give out this packaged this packaged way of thinking and communicating that you went through trial and tribulation to build up to this point in the transit, and handing it out. And then the person that you handed it out to just suddenly just vanishes right before your eyes, just starts spraying out through your hands. Like, whoa, I thought that was a real person, but they just went away. And here you went, spent all day fucking doing the whole bowl, bandaging it for something that was a mirage. So that's how that in conjunction will have you during this transit. If you aren't aware or have some type of grounding system, or are grounded in your own spirituality, have that access, because you can't talk about Virgo without talking about Pisces. You can't talk about Libra without talking about Aries, because they're just inexplicably linked. Just like when you have couples, or a married couple, a mother and father, it's kind of like a team, like they're a family now, where, you can talk about the man, the husband as an individual, and there's a lot of things you can say, but a lot is going to be left out if you don't include his dynamic with his wife, because that's a huge part of his life. So that's how it be. So so trying to package up, this ways of thinking and communicating and trying to bring balance to everything, and it's just a mirage. But if you've been grounded in your own spirituality, it's kind of more it's real. It's real, and you're not expending that energy in areas that it doesn't need to be in. And then when you come into that Mercury square with Pluto on the 22nd of September, leading up to the retrograde, your thoughts and ways of speaking will conflict with the structural changes that are going on in the world. So it's not going to be easy to talk that sauce anymore, or at least there's going to be these heavy restrictions on it, or the way you're gonna have to talk the sauce is going to change, because it's like, how do I say it? Like, it's not gonna be that on that type of change, or to represent that. It would be like you going to a strip club and having a whole bunch of ones, fucking Americans. In Canada, we literally throw coins at it's so weird. They be having like a poster of themselves, and then they roll it up into like a cone type thing, and then they place it on top of their coochie, and then like niggas is supposed to be like throwing they literally take money, or like you pay $20 and they give you like fucking like roll of loonies and shit like that, and you fucking throwing it. My friend one time got yelled at for throwing it too hard a couple of times. But anyways, imagine doing that, and they be like, no, we only take cryptocurrency and shit like that now. It's that type of structural change. So you can't even be saying I'm throwing ones in the strip club anymore, talking that type of sauce. You're gonna have to come up with some new type of sauce and find some way to make spending cryptocurrency in the fucking strip club sound like saucy and shit like that. It's on that type of shit. And yes, it's going to be awkward, and yes, it's going to be weird. But we've been going through that energy with Pluto, where everything that we have been using structurally in terms of systematic ways of running the world and running our lives and entering the world stage. This is even the ways we've been going about careers, going to college and shit like that, and all of that. It's gone, vanished. All of that shit. The old previous ways of gaining structure and stability in your life, gone, vanished, and it's now transforming into something else, because those stable jobs and shit before everybody was coal miners and shit like that at one point, those real steady jobs. I don't know how much coal mines and all of that shit be open up now, you know. Niggas be, you know what I mean? It's a different time for that type of stuff, but because of these transits going through. And then you also, to kind of cushion that Mercury square or Cap, Pluto and Cap, you have Mercury trine Jupiter in Aquarius, and this helps, is going to be like the safe haven, because it's kind of like getting a gift amongst the storm, you know. It's kind of like you have a whole bunch of things nagging you, a whole bunch of things, you know, trying to get at your mind, and then, you know, your drunk ass auntie, fucking Jupiter, comes up, you know, and gives you a bottle of wine. It's like, buck up, little kid, you know. It's like we all have to go through it or some shit like that. And then you get a little wine drunk, and you know what, things aren't too bad, you know. And you look at the day, and you look at the next day, you know, it's rational, you know, maybe I can handle it, not bad. Maybe the next day you go back into that frantic type deal and shit like that. But that's the type of energy Jupiter comes with, especially in Aquarius. It's gonna make you think more optimistic on your social interactions or dealing with people on a large scale, meaning it's going to help you find the people who you can communicate your spirituality with, who you can't, or at least going to help you give that boost to go and reach out and go and find it. And if you go and reach out and find it with this trine coming on the 21st, you will, and that you really will receive that gift, and it will help you during that retrograde type deal, because now you can be open about it, and now you can have that open conversation, and now you can bring awareness to the thoughts that you're having, the ways that you're communicating, and so that when you go back, you know, it's kind of like it's not that you didn't see it, or it's like you know what to kind of look through and look for. I feel like that's a pretty essential way to look at these Mercury retrogrades, and how to go through them or utilize them for the benefit of you. Because obviously, look at the trends with these elections and shit like that. If on a national level these niggas be using this energy, why wouldn't you be thinking of using it yourself for manifesting some shit of equivalence when they're here fucking dictating who's gonna be in charge, you know, who's fucking taking the energy from the people, literally, who's turning on and off the lights, you know, literally, man, it's fucking ritual crap. But then, okay, now let's talk about Mercury and Libra through all the houses. So if you have Mercury and Libra transiting through your first house, so this is going to bring a lot of thoughts and talking about your identity and personal interests, but it's going to be in a stage where you're kind of trying to blend it with other people, where you're trying to package a raw aspect of you. So it may be really weird for you at that time, or really aware of what is going on, or you really feel fake in terms of that expression. But I understand that struggle, because you're talking about something that is raw, and you feel like this packaged, sugar-coated aspect is not really covering it, and that's the polarized version of that Aries and Libra square. But when you neutralize that energy and understand that they are one, it kind of, why can't you be creative and package something that is raw? You know, why can't, you know, you allow what is raw to flow out in a beautiful and elegant way. Why not combine them? Why does it have to be separate and stuff like that? Why are you polarizing that energy? Those are the aspects you're going to be dealing with and going to have to rectify during this Mercury retrograde. And you're going to get into situations where it's forcing you to think about your identity and your personal interests, and it's going to feel fake to express these things. It's going to feel inauthentic, but you're gonna have to find a way to, when you have that deep connection with who you are or your identity, or you get out of its way, you'll find it's not as hard to be creative, or you'll find that life is a great tool. You as a person, an individual, are automatically being creative. You as an individual are constantly, just the way you blink is graceful, the way you breathe, the way your body is so sophisticated in its essence. You are already representing the energy in there, so you're kind of resisting something that you already are, and that's that's something you're gonna have to circle through it. That's what you're gonna have to learn this retrograde. Actually, you don't have to be dealing with that retrograde. It's just piece of chalk. But fucking Mercury in Libra in the second house, so you're gonna be thinking about how to bring balance into the things that you have. Thinking about bringing balance into the things that you have, or your financial matters, maybe starting the conversation of getting something going in your life, of the values that you have, starting the conversation of, producing something, because the second house being Taurus, having the energy of Taurus, the feminine side of Venus. Now the masculine side of Venus is coming in, so it's kind of like you're pushing out, or you're thinking about Venus in a way, or pushing out Venus area in an area of life where you are supposed to be receiving those type things. So you would be talking to other people about maybe the things that you want to have, or trying to establish relationships to get certain things and stuff like that. And meanwhile, that's not necessarily bad in terms of partnership, and teamwork makes the dream work. That's how you get the things, when it's based off of that type of stuff. The production doesn't rest with you. You know what I mean? AKA, like if somebody else has, if you are running a business or something like that, and hold on. But yeah, anyways, so when it's someone else is the source of the product, it kind of limits you, or now since you're not the source, you're kind of relying on them, so you're never supposed to have that. And that's what you're going to reflect on in this retrograde, and finding ways to kind of rectify that. As in, nothing's wrong with, teamwork makes the dream work, but codependency is another thing. So as long as teamwork makes the dream work, leads to you having some sort of self-sufficiency, it's all for it. Use it in that aspect. But if it's leading to some type of dependency, it's best to walk away. So Mercury and Libra in the third house. So if you got Mercury going through Libra in your third house, you're going to be thinking and communicating about what is going on around you in your immediate environment type deal, where you're trying to bring balance and creativity and more grace into your environment. AKA, now you're starting to talk about the things that you like more. You're trying to kind of blend the bridges of people in your environment, or at least kind of make things civil around you, kind of make the energy a little bit more agreeable so there's not any friction, in your surroundings. But it may, when this could lead to that type of running away energy, or you're not addressing certain aspects that don't need to be addressed. There's a heavy aspect that is positive, where at least you're having that conversation and you're learning how to blend your ideals or communicate things in a blendable way, whereas you're not just stuck in your own head, or you're not trying to make the surroundings around you just benefit you. You're kind of trying to already meet halfway, already think about how to package or talk to this specific individual, making it a one-on-one person. It's kind of like you're kind of giving that person power as an individual, by entering that one-on-one relationship type deal. It's like, no, yeah, I am an individual, because now you're inserting your energy, which is reminding me that I have energy and that it is separate from yours, because I can sense the energy that you are adding, that type of deal. And that's what you'll be reflecting on during the Mercury retrograde. So Mercury and Libra in the 4th house. So Mercury and Libra in the 4th house, you'll be thinking about and communicating about things that comfort you in the home, trying to bring balance and talking about balance and trying to bring more grace and fun and elegance into the home life. This could be, decorating, being more creative at home, or at least feeling more creative at home. That type of aspect, or sparking those creative thoughts or trying to bring them in the home. But then it may be hard, because a lot of times in the home, because there's also that square aspect with Cancer, the 4th house, and Libra, both being cardinal type energy. So the deal with Cancer being cardinal water, it's trying to spark connections, while Mercury in Libra, or while Libra's trying to spark a conversation. You know what I mean? It's trying to spark an intellectual boundary, whereas Cancer is trying to spark a connection boundary. So as you're trying to bring balance and harmony into the home, it's kind of easy to get lost, because you're maybe looking at things too intellectually. You may be looking at things too surface based, and not understand that there's an underlying aspect, and not take the time to reflect on how you feel, or how the energy that you put out felt, or how the other person would feel. You're in the mindset of bringing balance and all of that. And meanwhile, you may have good intentions. Good intentions don't mean shit to bad actions, because after the bad actions has been done, whether you had good intentions or not, doesn't redo the bad thing that you have done. So it still does damage, So having good intention is not the me all end all type deal. And that's kind of what you're going to be reflecting on in this Mercury retrograde. With Mercury and Libra going through the 5th house, you're going to be thinking and communicating about the things that you are entertained by, the things that you enjoy, things that kind of bring you into that childlike aspect of yourself, where you feel you get to create, who you are, or creatively express your individuality. And you're thinking about ways of packaging that identity. And it's kind of like like a boom, because you have this desire or something in you to express. And with Mercury going through Libra in your 5th house, what you want to express is something that is creative, and you're getting this intellectual boost to allow you to communicate it, adding the grace to this creative expression that you're are having. But with the retrograde, you're going to have this because it's Libra, and then the 5th house, that's Leo type energy, so that would be a sextile. So it's creating an opportunity. But that opportunity, Libra may keep on adding air, and Leo really burn out and start burning everything, and then that aspect tries to or gets over control. So now it's all fun and enjoyment, or you're trying to make everything like that, or you're trying to bend things into that area that don't need to be into that area. So while it's transiting in there, while you will have that boost and creative aspect, you have to be wary of using that energy and not losing yourself into it, and not getting into that manipulating, dominating type deal in the name of, trying to feel good, or trying to have fun, or getting lost in the enjoyment of that creative expression. So Mercury and Libra in the 6th house. So if you have Mercury and Libra going through the 6th house, it means you're thinking and communicating about what you are doing on a day-to-day basis, about work and your habits. You're trying to bring harmony and balance to how you do work, and how in your habits in life, maybe trying to add a little bit more creativity, or like sparkle, sunshine to your routines. Trying to thinking about and even balancing them with other people. Maybe now you're having more ideas and thoughts of how to balance your schedules with other people, with Mercury and Libra. With Libra being in your 6th house, you already think about other people in your schedule significantly, in your work and daily life kind of revolves around your relationships that you have with Mercury around there. You're going to be consciously aware, or these are the things that you're going to be thinking about and talking about. These are the people you're going to be talking to, that discord is really going to be directed towards. And you have to be wary to not, once you're trying to perfect someone else's energy as a part of the aspect of the relationship that you're a part of, you're going to get lost. You have to perfect that aspect, or aka perfect. I'm saying perfect because Virgo with the 6th house, but you have to focus on what has to be habitual, is personal to you. And that's what you bring onto the stage to go and balance with other people. It's not going to take that already balanced thing, and you're going to have to take that, because even or that's what you're going to be reflected on, because it being in your 6th house, this is something that you want to make sense and bring practical, but you're going to have to look at it real. You can't just want it to be practical and try and force practicality. You have to take a step back and see actually what is going on, make sense out of it, and bite the bullet even if it's not desirable. If that's what you want to get done, if you want to see it get done, that's what you got to do. That type of deal, and that's what you're going to be reflecting on during this Mercury retrograde, with Mercury in Libra transiting through the 7th. If it's in your 7th house, then you're going to be thinking and communicating about your one-on-one relationships. Libra is kind of in its home, so you're in Aries ascendant, damn, and you already if you're an Aries ascendant, god damn. Already your identity is already conflicting who you are, your initial expression as a person, conflicts with how you balance with other people. Already automatically certain people don't like you just the way you balance with energy, so you're already having to deal with that. But with Mercury going into Libra, maybe you're going to be more conscious of that type of thing, and maybe it's going to bring a little bit more grace into the way that you communicate. Whereas, yes, you are in your right to be blunt and be the Aries ascendant that you are, but if you were to add that graceful element, persuasive, seductive element, a Venetian that Libra has, now that's just adding extra weapons into your arsenal. Now that is just another utility on the bat belt, you know what I mean? That type deal. Look at it as that. And take in those thoughts and ways of communicating and use them to balance your relationships, or at least not let that blunt type thing come in the way of you bringing balance in a situation that could bring benefit from you or to you. And that's what you're going to be reflecting on, how to incorporate a little bit more grace into it. And then if you have Mercury and Libra transiting through your 8th house, you're going to be thinking about and communicating or trying to put in a more graceful light the things that you hold really deep. You know, these are the things that are going to be on your mind, and you're trying to communicate as best as you can, but these are really deep aspects of you. So this could be coming into conversations about sex, you know, or finding, and it doesn't even have to be bad or awkward and shit like that, but it could be a deep conversation where it be educational, or you really relate to somebody or really connect to someone based on that type of aspect, or you really get vulnerable or have those vulnerable conversations, or are prone to those vulnerable conversations, or would have that type of vulnerable conversation that when it goes in retrograde, you're going to have to backtrack and see what that actually was and what had happened during that. So it's going to be based on vulnerabilities, but it's finding a way to wrap it up nicely, or find a way to gracefully do it. And not even gracefully like in terms of sugarcoating it, but to have that connectivity, you know, to package it in a way where another person can actually connect to it, where it's not just abstract in your own mind, but you morphed it in a way to provide the experience for someone, that type deal. So that's what you'll be reflecting on during the retrograde. And then if you have Mercury and Libra transiting through your 9th house, you're going to be thinking about and communicating about your moral structures and your experiences and wisdom and knowledge. So it's finding a way to creatively or find that graceful or balancing way to talk about your experiences. You know, it's kind of that boost where you have an elegant way of talking about. It's kind of like that storytelling type boost with Mercury going through Libra in your 9th house, whereas how you connect with people a lot, or you're able to connect with people, have the ability to connect with people through your knowledge and experience and your ability to communicate these things. There's going to be a real boost in awareness of it, and maybe you'll start beginning to utilize it, aka becoming a storyteller, or realize that storytelling aspect of you, and that's what people really mess with, and start diving into it or utilizing that. And that's what you will be reflecting on during this Mercury retrograde. And yeah, if you have Mercury and Libra transiting through your 10th house, so Mercury and Libra in your 10th house, this is thinking and communicating about your career and your position in the world. Automatically, your position in the world. And this is also a conflicting type aspect, because the 10th house is Capricorn, cardinal Earth, we're talking about Libra, cardinal, air, so it's a square. Whereas the 10th house is talking about career status, a global stage. This is you your place in the world, whereas Libra is one-on-one type of conversation, Capricorn type of collective. So if you have Libra in your 10th house, your career and how you interact with the world on a large stage is highly influenced by your relationships and stuff like that, and it's already like that. So this can make you ill in terms of making relationships with people and being able to communicate and knowing those business deals and going through those situations. But it also can be detrimental in terms of that codependency, or leaving you open or vulnerable to business partners doing you bad because you need that other person in order to start type deal, or that's the skill that you have and that's normally how you get things going, or type deal, or having even running into trouble with that. So that's what you will be reflecting on during that Mercury retrograde, how to bring out the benefit of that square, or of that ability, and use it for self-dependency, or use it to build a self-sustaining structure, that type deal. It's not that it's bad. The bad aspect of it is the codependency. You should have been using it to understand the value of and the tools and assets that you have at your disposal. If that's how it is, if that's how you utilize it, okay, get in that mindset and use it wisely, and use it in ways to benefit yourself. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. If you have Mercury and Libra transiting through your 11th house, then you're going to be thinking and communicating about your social life and your life goals. You're going to try and connect with people on a large scale that think the same ways of you, and trying to blend and create relationships with these people. So you may meet a large group of people, or find an organization that represents something, or find a business that sells the products that you wanted to do, or is the type of business that you would like to run and start, or you find someone who's running a business or service, something that you want to start, and it's kind of inspired you, that type of deal. Or starting relationships based off of similar ideals and humanitarian values, or similar ideologies type deal, and an exchange of knowledge. It's kind of like it's like a gateway for more knowledge, because Libra starts the conversation and then Aquarius keeps it going. So when Aquarius is relating to the 11th house, so with Libra in the 11th house and them both being air signs, that trine really keeps the conversation going, and a lot of information could be assimilated, especially from this, because that interaction and balancing energy with large groups of people, with a lot of people, it comes a lot of understanding of social situations and just how people are. But you can get lost into that by not utilizing that into your benefit. Okay, yeah, you understand this is how people are. That doesn't mean this is how you have to be, or how everybody is going to be. Once you start adopting that, or that doesn't mean that it's right or it's wrong. Once you start getting into that scale, now you're starting to use that energy, starting to be an esoteric demon, and not using that aspect to be an esoteric angel, and start bringing light into your life and to everybody else's life around you. So if you have Mercury and Libra in the 12th house, then you'll be thinking and communicating about your dreams and your subconscious mind, whereas it's going to be tough just like what I was talking about earlier with the in conjunction with Neptune and Pisces with Mercury and Libra, you kind of have that energy going on because Pisces represents the 12th house, whereas, and so there's that misunderstanding in in that aspect of your life of that subconscious, because all of your relationships are kind of pulling the strings in your subconscious, and you may not be bringing awareness to it, or you're not understanding that it's the relationships and the how you take the back seat sometimes, or how you overextend, or how you always extend the hand and get into new relationships and stuff like that, even though they may not, it could be a mirage, just fizzes away into mist after and stuff like that. So this is what you will be reflecting on during the retrograde. Whether it was real or not, through that exchange of energy, through you trying to bring balance and harmony, and you have to be open to letting things go. If it's not real or if it doesn't sustain, it's about starting that harmony and balance is about starting it, but not really holding on to the expectations. That's how you get out of the illusion type trap where you only see it as one way type deal. Once you start being open and allowing it to come and manifest in multiple ways, you start opening up the floodgates and you start doing things God's way. And yeah, that's the Mercury transit. Peace out, everybody. Okay, beautiful.